a lot of people are burned out. So when you sleep, if you don't sleep well at night, it affects your mental health, and ways that leaders can create that space for the employees. And I teach employees how to speak and leaders how to listen.
I'm so glad I'm an entrepreneur and my kid wants to be an entrepreneur. But the truth is it's another arena where women really have to reach out and go, I don't know.
I did grief counseling. I did PTSD. I've done that as well, just to understand the psyche of human beings after traumatic events.
The role of confidence in women, it's a confidence roller coaster. All these gifts inside of us, and no one ever gets to see because we're hiding.
So this is the world's largest event of this kind.
Yeah, it's the world's largest authorship and speakership for International Women's Day. Like you said, it's free, so women can come on all over the world. It's for women and those that support women. We've had over 3,000 women. 3,000 women have come and received.
Just a little taster of what is coming up on the show. But first, please do like this video and subscribe to the channel. And also tell your friends and family about this podcast. Please let us know in the comments if you would like to hear any particular topic in relation to sleep or health. And I will create a show especially for you, just for asking the question. So let's get on with the show. Welcome back to the Empowering Family Health podcast. I'm excited again, as you can see, about this episode that we have today. And I have more people back on from the 262 Women's Project, another summit that's happening on the 8th of February. All these summits are on the 8th of every single month. And there's a reason for that, because this is all supporting Women's International Day, which falls on the 8th of March. So 8 is a magic number, isn't it? And we're in the year of 2024, which is the year of abundance as well. So it's time for everyone to show up, stand up, speak up, right? And that's what this project is all about. So today I have some amazing speakers and coaches with me today who are going to share a little bit about what they do and how they help people and why they're so passionate about this, right? And why they're here to support other women. Because you know what? Women really are very powerful. We're very powerful leaders, but we've kind of forgotten it over the years, and it's how we've been taught and what we've been told over the years. But we're actually more than that, right? And we need, other women supporters, even men in our lives, to support women going forward, because we all need each other, and together we're stronger. And that's what this is all about. So it's really, really highlighting that. So without further ado, let me introduce these amazing people that I have today. I can't wait to talk to them and share them with you, right? So we have Lydia Burchell, and her solid belief is that a woman's confidence is her greatest asset. Isn't that powerful? She has 20 years of experience as an international coach, speaker and trainer. And she's going to be talking to us today a little bit about empowered inner confidence for women. And that is her topic that she will be speaking in depth on the 8th of February. So do make sure that you register for that event. We'll be talking a little bit more about that later on. So that's Lydia. She's going to be talking to us all about that. And that's very important. Helen Glen is an international best-selling author. She is a life and business coach and a speaker. And as a devastated sole parent who lost a son tragically, and she endured her father's suicide after her mother's cancer, she then remarried and she found healing in that. So her topic is healing after loss. And you know what? It is a big, big topic in the world at the moment, right? Whether you've lost a loved one or we're actually experiencing loss of other things in our lives as well, that not necessarily people. So there's a lot of us grieving. And it's something that's very, very much overlooked. And grieving is a process, whether it's someone that you've lost or something that you've lost. Grieving is a whole process, and it's a very low vibration. So I'm really glad that we have Helen here, who's been through it herself, and she knows what it's like. So she's going to talk to us a little bit about that and why that is so important, and really empowering you to be able to heal after loss. So that's Helen. Then we have Diane Jamieson, and she's a keynote speaker, presenter and a facilitator to executives and leaders of global organisation. And she talks to people, she talks to these leaders all about mental wealth in the workplace, which is very powerful, right? Because, what is it, 80% of people are not happy in the workplace at the moment. It's huge. And we spend most of our time at work. So, doesn't it make sense that we should be happy? And what do most people go to work for is to earn money. So wealth and money is a big topic, right? It's a need. Diane, we'll actually start. I forgot to introduce Deborah behind this whole project. Oh my God, how could I forget Deborah? Deborah Drummond. She is the catalyst behind this 262 Women's Project. She owns 7 companies at the moment, right? She is a multi-winning award person, right? So loads of awards she's won. She's a best-selling author. She's behind loads of projects. She's doing the speakership and an authorship. She's just doing so much. I don't know how she does it, right? And she's absolutely amazing. And she's empowered so many women across the globe. And it is my honour to have Deborah on the podcast again today. She's been on previous podcasts, and we actually had a separate podcast where we talked about brain health, which was very interesting as well. So separate to the 262 Women's Project. So yeah, so you never know what hand or what pie Deborah has her hand in. So let me start with Diane, right? Because this is a really, really important topic, right? Mental wealth in the workplace. So tell us what you're finding, because it's a really big area. You know, as I say, we spend 8 hours every day. You know, if you're employed by somebody, you spend 8 hours of your day working for somebody, and it's really important that we enjoy, because it's a long period of the day. So what are you finding, Diane, in this area?
A lot of people right now are at the sort of end of the COVID, which hugely impacted mental health in the workplace. And a lot of people are burned out. So you're seeing a huge amount of people that are not sleeping. I had a chance to go on your YouTube video about sleep with Jennifer Regular and picked out a couple of things, particularly around that cycle. So when you sleep, if you don't sleep well at night, it affects your mental health. So in the daytime, you can't focus. You're taking more time to do your reports. You may be a little bit less, shall I say, kind to your fellow employees.
Yeah,
it starts to go around, and then you're not feeling so well at work. You go home, it affects your loved ones. Now you're not sleeping as well. So that cycle that you talked about is the same thing, because mental health, which is it's your brain's ability to feel, think, and act, basically, and enjoy your life, manage stress. That starts to affect you in the workplace, affects you at home, affects you back, but it also affects your physical health. So your mental health affects your physical health affects your mental health.
Yeah.
And so right now, people are just feeling that.
It's and I'm glad I'm really delighted you got the time to have a look at that interview with Jennifer, because that was a really, really good, and she comes from kind of a spiritual aspect as well, like, you know, and we are multidimensional beings. And I'm so glad that you said, you know, it affects physical, emotional, and our relationships. You spoke about relationships. You go home and you bring all your crap with you at home and you take it out on your loved ones, right? Because it's easy to take it out on our loved ones, isn't it? That's what we do, right? But it's to be aware of all of this, you know. But we are multidimensional beings, and it does affect us on all levels, and we must be aligned on all these levels to show up at our best, you know. So it's not just, you know, mental, physical, but it's interconnected, and one area, one of these dimensions will affect all the other areas as well. So like it's huge, you know. So Diane, you're going to be talking to us all about this, and like, how are you helping people to resolve this problem? I know you can't give us all the answers right here and now, but what is it that you're finding, or what are you doing to help people in this area?
Well, when I work with leaders, and actually I was on a program yesterday, 8 hours training with a group, predominantly a male-dominated area, mining industry. And one of the first things I start with, because these people are looking for how do I help support people in my workplace when I see performance issues or behavior changes and it's affecting work, but there may be something underneath it. How do I support them in case it is a mental health? So one of the things that I do, and yesterday we talked about, is the first place you start with is your own self-care. And I'll often ask people, you know, hey, look, how many of you prioritize your own self-care? I get them to put their hands up. Out of 15 people yesterday, how many think put their hand up?
Oh God, I'd say nearly all of them did.
Oh my person. And this is what, prioritize. One out of 15. And so about 1% is what I usually see. So then I encourage people to say, well, what would it take for you to put yourself first? You know, is it because you feel like you're guilty or it's not productive? And so we have that conversation so that when you go home or when you're at work, you have that ability to be at a better state so that you can then respond to others who need you. Because if you can't, you can have all the great techniques in the world. You're not going to implement them.
I know.
And so, sorry, the other thing too that I picked up from you, Joanne, was safety. Right? So safety, because I worked in domestic violence, and women that don't feel safe, they don't sleep, they can't function. And so In 2015, the Human Rights Commission in Canada mandated that all employers must provide mental health, psychological safety for all their employees. So that safety, when it comes to your project, Deb, women, how many women feel safe to speak up? How many women have a voice? How many women feel like they can be themselves and that's safe? So I talk about that and ways that leaders can create that space for the employees. And I teach employees how to speak and leaders how to listen. That's
Oh my God.
I get goosebumps talking about it because because leaders actually have this ripple effect, right? Where they affect a whole bunch of people. And I get to do that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
God, look, what's that like, to be honest, this is for everybody, because we really do have an impact. And when you talk about that ripple effect, because that's what this takes, because one individual cannot change the whole world. It's that ripple effect. And when we have an impact, like say an employee, is treated well in the workplace and, they have their good night of sleep and all the rest and they're feeling great and then they go home. And now they're full of positive vibes and they're giving that to their husband, their children, and now they're feeling great. And it just passes on, right? So it's how your state is, how you're being, how you're feeling, really does have that ripple of impact. And, when you start that, and it could be just a random act of kindness, I call it as well, and it could be just opening the door for somebody and or smiling at someone you go out. The amount of people, when I go out for my walk and they have their head down, they're looking down at the ground, I look up at them and I actually make eye contact and say good morning and they smile. And it just, when people do meet my eyes, I can see it lighting them up, and that's just something small. And then they'll go home and they'll feel a lot better about themselves or whatever. So it could be something small, this random act. But I love what you say. I love the self-care, because especially as women, most of us are guilty of looking after the kids, even the spouse, right? Because once they're all happy, they're not going to be moaning and nagging at us. And that's the way we've all been kind of looking at it, But you know what? We've got to show up and be our best, because when we're in our best self, in our best state, the ripple effect, right? The ripple effect, and our children are going to be in good form. And it just happens naturally. And it's very powerful. But the self-care, putting on your own oxygen mask first, as they say, is really, really important. My God, you can see I could talk to you all day about this. I'm flying along here because, I love this conversation. I can't wait to hear you, Diane, on the 8th of February, speaking in depth on this topic. Is very, very much needed, this topic. And whether you're in the workplace or not, I think it applies to all aspects of our lives as well. So it's a really important area. Deborah, I'm going to come to you, right? Tell us a little bit about... You're going to be speaking about the truth about being a momager. So this is a new role, a new thing that you've took on, right? And I know you're very big about the Gen Z and, the younger generation coming in and the next leaders of the world and all that. So tell us what you're involved in now with momagering.
Well, you know what? We decided, thank you, Joanne, so much. And thank you for everyone else being on here. This is a great time. And as soon as Diane started talking, I was like, whoa, Joanne's world just hungry. Yeah. So thank you for having me on. But you know what? We're going to talk about something that people probably already know. There just wasn't a label to it. And the actual term is called a momager or a dadager. And that's when you act as a parent and a manager to your child's business. Now, I've talked to people that have children that are, 30, 20, 15, 12. And there's a huge wave of, we usually think it like, family business, right? The family business, where the family has the business and then the child comes into the business. That's a little different, but not, right? A lot of times momagers are finding themselves in this position of their child is in a different sector, or they work 9 to 5 or 10 to 4 or 11. They work in what we would consider a job, and they've got this younger person that's living in their home and they want to be an entrepreneur. It can get very tough, and there's all sorts of things that happen. And you just finished talking about self-care and putting your oxygen mask on. And the reality is there's a 12% less sign up going on in the world of colleges and universities. And this generation, like no generation before, it's wide open. There's this, look at the courses that are available to kids in high schools and, senior schools and what have you. It's like, you can be anything. And honestly, probably in a generation like none before, they can be anything. There is jobs that they're creating, like YouTube phenomenons and, people making serious, and you're like, oh my gosh, I worked 20 years or 30 years. And I was on a call last night late in Australia. Helen, I was up late talking to Australia. My son, who's 19, just turned 20, is talking to someone from Australia who is not, is my age. And they're looking at investing in a, company that's 19 or 20, run by a 19 or 20-year-old because of what they have. And we were talking about the difference. Here's the challenge in that, is that particularly for the momagers, dadagers are a little better by nature going, hey, my friend can teach that. My friend can teach that. And taking their kid and moving them into different areas. And mom, by nature, at least at first, try to nurture and work with that until they're like, I don't know. I don't know accounting. I don't know how to market. I don't know this. And if they're not an entrepreneur, it's even tougher because it's not a arena that they're comfortable in and they don't really know where to go. So what happens is you step into help. Now you probably have a job. You don't have a job. Maybe you're doing something else, but whatever. You're caring for your family. You're working for someone else, or you're an entrepreneur. Look, I'm an entrepreneur. I have this kid who's hitting. We're on half my calls yesterday was my son's business. He got picked up by the DJ from the Utah NBA, They're going to do a collaboration and everyone's excited. And what I'm thinking of is, okay, the calls that we have to make and, we have this and now we got to go to Utah. And so then what happens to you? What happens to your job? What happens to your mission? What happens to your vision? By nature, we can easily put that stuff aside. Self-care, woo, you know what I mean? So the reality is that it's super cool. And honestly, it's super exciting and it's great. And I'm so glad I'm an entrepreneur and my kid wants to be an entrepreneur. But the truth is it's another arena where women really have to reach out and go, I don't know. And it's a fine line. Our kids grow up and they go to college, university, or work, and they're out of the house and you're an empty nester. When your child decides to go back into being in a position of needing you, whatever that looks like, right? I was like, oh my gosh, it would be so much easier if this kid went to university and I worked my butt off to pay it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now it's kind of like we have a kid again and they're in this state of they don't know. And so it's an incredible opportunity and it's fantastic. But the reality of being a momager or a dadager is there's different realities that we got to come up against. And me and Kimberly Butler, if you don't know Kimberly Butler from New York, look her up. We're going to talk real talk, real shop.
She's great. She spoke last month. Did she? Yeah,
she did. We talked. I don't know what did we talk about last month. Oh, media score. Yeah, women can have a media score. Yeah.
No, she's great. She's great. I so there's an influx of entrepreneurship at the moment, right? And all our youth are stepping into that, and it's the world we're living in now at the moment. But I swear that the teenagers, the young folk, the young adults, teenagers, their brains are wired differently than our. I really believe that. And I think nature did this on purpose for the world that they're living into. Nature's very, very intelligent, right? And they're very different than how we were and our generation before us and before us again. So it's like a whole new burst of energy, and it's very new. And for mothers right now, like for myself, like Deborah, I don't know how old you were when the internet came out. I was only about 28, 29 when the internet just started, right? Yeah. So, but they have it from birth, from the very beginning. They have it, and they're not afraid of it, right? And I love what you said, because the truth is that even if you're an entrepreneur, we're entrepreneurs here, right, on this call. So we have our challenges being an entrepreneur because we have to be disciplined and focused. And I don't know about you, but there's a lot of, you're a top performance coach as well, Deborah. You train people in top performance. And there's a lot of people that are struggling because they're just so distracted. They're not getting enough, they're not taking enough breaks during the day. So they don't have brain power and managing their energy, not the time, but managing their energy, right, around tasks, blah, blah, blah. So now when you're a momager, you've got this to handle as well. So the entrepreneurial world of your son or daughter as well as your own. So it's like, so it's a big deal. I really get it. It's a big deal. And I just love what you're doing though. And really, creating this story and the training around momager as well, and just highlighting and having people be aware of it and what they can do to make it better.
Well, yeah, because it puts you in a place of being alone again, right? It can be kind of isolating, just like when, it's like when you're a new mom. Now you're just a new mom in a different arena. And if it's not your arena, even if it is your arena, I can say I've got some experience in this business world, but my kid, he decided to do a business in streetwear. right? Where they collab and, they buy sneakers for 2,000 and sell them for 10,000. Like I had to learn a whole new sector. I chose to learn a whole new sector. Let's put it that way, because you don't have to do anything. But I chose to learn a whole new sector. And yeah, it is. I mean, it's as good as it gets when you see someone win in our lives, and particularly our children. But then there's things that you have to implement, right? Like I was in a flotation tank 2 days ago. Yesterday, in the middle of the day, one of my appointments was an EFT. I'm like, I heard someone like, do some EFT, let's rock and roll this thing, So there's things you have to implement to be able to sustain yourself. And then, and they've got their eyes wide open. They're like, right?
I hear you on that. I hear you on that. We really do, because it's back to minding our energy. We've got to mind our energy. I had a power word last year, Grace, and it was an acronym, and the E on it was for energy, because we really have to, I was aware of that, to mind my energy. And now I'm talking about it to other people, my experience, and the whole process of resting. So resting, we have emotional rest, physical rest, mental rest. There's all different types of rest. It's not just napping, right? It's taking a break from a task, and it could be just for 2 minutes where you go and make yourself a cup of tea, or walk around your garden and ground yourself, or whatever it may be, right? But this can make a huge difference in your life, and especially when we've got lots of stuff going on. And I love what you said as well, because when we're employed in a job, about skills, we have a certain amount of skills for that specific job. But when you're an entrepreneur, there's loads. Like it's like this way. And we got to be able to ask for help. And that's the difference between being a successful entrepreneur and being employed. So yeah, anyway, again, I could talk to you forever, Deb. So let's move on to Helen. The ability to rest is the body's key to healing. Do you struggle with getting asleep at nighttime, or staying asleep during the night and waking up the next morning feeling absolutely exhausted? My book, How to Get a Good Night's Sleep, is easy to understand, it's solution-based, and it's packed with research to help you take back control of your night's sleep. My book is available on Amazon, and it's also available on howtogetaggoodnightsleep.com. This book is also available in audio and ebook. So get your copy today and start having the best night's sleep that you've only ever dreamed of. Helen, you're going to be talking to us all about healing after loss. Now, look, you had a tragic story yourself, and I really believe, with the adversities that we experience in our life, some will grow through it and become very strong people, and that's where your life's work comes from. I can really see that in what you're doing. I've experienced something similar when we were chatting away on WhatsApp there during the week, and I was sharing that I had something similar as well. I lost my daughter at birth. So the healing after loss is a huge, huge, huge area. And after COVID, a lot of people have lost people, and lots of suicides as well. And we see that amongst teenagers. It's an epidemic. Like it's something that we need to have a conversation about. So tell us a little bit about, maybe a little bit about your story and why you're so passionate about it, and what you're seeing in this whole area.
Thank you for having me on today. I'm very honored. I was at a weekend seminar, and we were asked to get up on stage and speak for 2 minutes for 2 days. And on the second day, I observed a lady crying in the audience. And in the break, she came to me and she said, "Would you mind if I gave you a hug?" She said, "My son is suicidal. Please continue the work you are doing." Oh, wow. And I wasn't really doing any of this work. I was a business coach. So over COVID, I decided to, I lost my 9-to-5 job in marketing. So I decided to study holistic healing, because that's what I did naturally after the death of my son. He was killed at 19, very tragically and very unexpectedly. So the trauma was horrific. But we have to go through life. I'm actually 76 now.
What?
And
Amazing.
I do not know the word retire. I do think that we all have a gift of giving back to the world. Thank you.
Yeah, and the day, you have to keep growing. Like the day you stop growing, that's when you die, as they say, isn't it? So
yes, that's it. So that woman was my inspiration for doing this work because, as I said, I went back and I did grief counseling, I did PTSD coaching as well because my father suffered from PTSD. He was a returned veteran after the World War II, and he committed suicide in the end. So they were all signs of suffering from PTSD. So I've done that as well, just to understand the psyche of human beings after traumatic events. And I was able to heal myself by giving myself compassion and kindness. And it was a holistic approach because I still had to work and support my 2 daughters. They were both under my care as a single parent. And so it was just getting on with life, really. As women, we do that. We're resilient, we're strong, and we have to draw on those strengths because there are others in the world who really need us. Besides going into the great depth of grief, we have to, or I had to anyway, go and run on the beach. I took a year off from Sydney and I went to the Gold Coast. And I just took on a very light job that was sufficient to keep us going. And I was able to just give myself that time out that I really desperately needed to come to terms with my son wasn't here anymore. And that was a new way of living.
What was your son's name?
Justin.
Justin. Oh, that's
Justin Charles.
Justin, yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And what was your father's name?
Noel
and Justin. Well, we remember them now anyway, yeah, that because they played a big part in your life. Like, even though it was a great loss, it's a gain in a sense as well for you, you know, like because of who you've become through the whole process. My daughter Megan, I lost her at birth, the day she was due actually. So like it's tragic when you lose your own children, you know, like because our children are not meant to go before us in the natural timing of things, right? We're supposed to go before them. But it's like it's even more tragic when it's your own child, like, you know, and I really get that. And I love what you said, that you had compassion for yourself, and that's what it was that helped you get over, you know, because there's all the different stages of grief, you know, the anger, the bargaining, and you know, the acceptance, all these different stages that we go through, and it can be a long process. And I always remember, when is this going to end? When is this going to end? Like, it was a year later, and I was still like, I mean, I was suicidal myself for a long time, and I just couldn't see past it. I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it went on for a long time. And everybody's different. Everyone has a different journey. But I stopped and had a look, and I learned an awful lot going through the whole process, and I was very aware. And then I met these people in my life who, there must have been my angels. I don't know how they came about, but like it was the right time, and, you know, the right lesson that I needed to learn. So, but I love that you said you had to have compassion for yourself, because one of the biggest learnings I had was forgiveness. And because I was giving myself an awful time, you know, I was very hard on myself, and I was blaming myself. I should have done this. If I had done this, that wouldn't have happened. And I think a lot of us go through that as well, you know. So, but Helen, I really love the work that you're doing, and, you know, it can be quite, it can be hard for some. It's not something that everybody would be doing, you know, because it's quite hard, and listening to people's painful stories can be heartbreaking. And I just admire you for doing the work that you're doing and walking that path. And I love the story of the lady who inspired you and asked you to keep doing the work that you're doing, because that impacted her. And you never know when you're just, even if you're not a professional, you're just telling a story in general, right? The impacts that we can have on people. So by sharing ourselves and telling our stories, it can be so empowering. So I absolutely love that, Helen. And I can't wait to hear more about your topic on the 8th of February as well. So thank you, Helen, for being here and sharing that story. That was a very heartfelt story. It really was. So thank you for that.
Hey there, my name's Jen Myers, and I'm coming at you today to let you know that I am going to be a speaker at the upcoming Show Up, Stand Up, Speak Up Global Connection event happening on the 8th of February. And it's an all-day event. I'll be speaking at 9:30, I believe, Pacific. And I can't wait. I'm representing my business, the 90-Day Divas Limited. And what I'll be talking about is ways to address rejection so that you can bounce back faster in your business. and get better results. Because I know we've all been rejected in different areas of our lives, and sometimes that can really hold us back from achieving what we want to achieve. So I'll be talking about different strategies to help you build that resilience in the face of rejection so that you can get better results. So come join me at the Show Up, Stand Up, Speak Up event on the 8th of February. Hope to see you there.
Lydia, let's move on to Lydia. So let me see, where do I have Lydia? She is going to be talking about confidence for women. And oh my God, what a topic, because I think so many of us have been our confidence has been knocked out of us. You know, over the years, we've been told how to be, we've been told that our roles have to be this way, we have to do this. And, you know, our job is to be the mother. And we've been kind of downplayed, you know, to what we can be, you know. So Lydia, tell us a little bit about your role in this whole area and how you help people and help women to bring back their confidence.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here today. And the role of confidence in women, I look at what you just mentioned about confidence, and it's a confidence roller coaster. As women, we are confident in some areas and confident sometimes and sometimes not. And you're right that we have all these gifts inside of us that never actually, and no one ever gets to see because we're hiding. We're hiding those things that, you know, the world really needs, but we might not have the confidence to bring them out to the world. So I love the idea of confident women and getting them off of that roller coaster and getting into an inner confidence, a place where they can live their life knowing that they're confident on the inside. They know who they are, they can trust who they are, and that's what they bring to the world. That's what they bring to everything that they do. And then we get to see all those beautiful treasures that they have inside of them.
And it just comes naturally then when you're standing in that power, like you're grounded in that inner confidence. You know who you are. So, you know, there's a lot to be said about knowing who you are. And then people say, well, who am I? How do I find out who I am? And blah, 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 right? And how would you answer that? Like, how would you go about telling people? I know it's, you know, there's always, you know, a process. But, you know, where do people start when it comes to knowing who they are and finding that confidence?
Well, one of the things that I do when I work with women is I set them up on a 30-day challenge. Pick one thing, pick one area that you really want to be confident in, that, you know, your confidence might be sometimes great and sometimes not. And set it up as a 30-day challenge, because what might happen is we say, oh, I want to be confident in that area, and then maybe do something today and then not do something for a week. But I set in my task list that it comes up every single day to do something towards changing that. So it becomes a habit of being confident in that area. And we, of course, we need to sit down and talk about what is that the area of confidence. Why does it sometimes feel like you're confident and sometimes not? Because there could be things that are blocking that are getting in the way. It used to really upset me when someone would say, well, just go and do it. And I think, but I can't. I've got something that's blocking me and I can't get through it. And so we address that first and then set up the 30-day challenge. So that they can.
That's really great, because when they can notice what it is that's in the way, what's blocking them, because it's like we're going around and we're trying to reach a certain point. You know, we have these goals and what have you, but we're trying very hard and we're not reaching them and all of this. And it's like we're pushing against this brick wall, you know, because we're not dissolving it. And when we notice what it is, you know, we can dissolve this steel wall even, wherever you want, you know, and we can flow with life then, you know, and things can happen naturally and it's not so hard, and we have more resilience and we flow with things rather than having this resistance, because it's we're in our own way with all of this, you know. So we just have to notice what it is that's blocking it for us. And everyone's different. Everyone has different stuff, like, you know, and shit happens to everyone, do you know what I mean? But it's about noticing what it is and the beliefs that we have and the relationship we have with that belief. And just, you know, when we notice that, because we don't know what we don't know, as they say, you know. So confidence, when, you know, and it really is, I think it's so sad, like, you know, because women have such potential, and when their past is dictating who they are, because your past is in the past, it's happened. Like we're here right now and we have potential, you know, and we want to move into the life going forward, you know, and the life that we truly want and what it is that we want, and not live the life based on other people's terms and what other people want. Because for many of us, that's what we're doing, because we're trying to please other people. We've heard that so many times, right? We're all people pleasers. And it's really important to notice it, you know. So Lydia, it's such an empowering area, you know, to give women back their confidence, because I believe that when they have that confidence, you know, even if somebody speaks to them, you know, in a bad way or, you know, a condescending way, it will just bounce off them. It will just bounce off you when you have that confidence, that inner confidence. And like, nothing can knock you over. You're unstoppable, you know. And yes, you're going to have your up and down days, but you bounce back a lot quicker, I think, you know, and having confidence in different areas. I love that you start off simple as well. You just focus on one area so it's not overwhelming. But yeah, anyway, blah, 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 blah. I could talk about that topic forever. So we're going to hear you on the 8th of February. Can't wait for that. Oh my God. So it started, this event is the 8th of February, and it starts at 9 a.m. PST time. And if any of my Irish followers are on, it's 5 p.m. Irish time. And it goes all the way through the whole day. So you can join whenever you want. Have a look at the Eventbrite page. The link is going to be in the show notes. So you can have a look at the Eventbrite page, have a look at all the speakers, all the topics. There's lots more speakers. There's like 12 speakers, Deborah, is there on the day?
Absolutely.
Yeah. 12, and listen to today's few people that we've just been speaking about today. Can you imagine the rest of the guys that's going to be on? Oh my God. So yeah, and look, I've been on, and Deborah, this is the 11th summit, is it? The 12th summit?
This is going to be the 12th summit. Yes, because once we hit International Women's Day, it's 10 summits in 10 weeks.
Woo! Imagine that. Oh my God.
Yeah, imagine that. I was talking to Oprah about that this morning. Imagine that.
Really?
She didn't call me back, but I
she will. Yeah, just see it in your she will. You will be noticed, Deborah. Oh my! I mean, this is the world's largest event of this kind, Deborah, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the world's largest authorship and speakership for International Women's Day. And who knew?
It's free. It's free for people.
It's free.
And yeah, and all the speakers have a free gift for anybody that shows up. Right? You get a free gift, and there's more. There is a special one-time big prize for one person in the audience. Is that correct, Deborah?
Yeah, for every single speaker. So there's, like, I think we added up it was over 25,000 in gifts that got given away last month. And so every speaker has a free gift for everybody. And then there's one, we won't tell you how it gets picked, because you got to come see, because we got to leave something, something to the imagination. But every speaker has a very high one gift for somebody that is on listening to what they have to say, that they can win. And I mean, we've had women, Catherine O'Leary, actually, she won a gala ticket to the New York Fashion Week gala dinner by Mindy Shire that was brought on by one of our celebrities. And I mean, these are not small winnings. These are incredible. You deserve. And so, yeah, and it's, like you said, it's free, so women can come on all over the world. It's for women and those that support women. We've had over 3,000 women. 3,000 women have come and received. Just like when Helen was inspired by that one woman and that one woman was inspired by Helen. Imagine 3,000 of that.
Yeah. And you pick up, I mean, there's lots of information there. And, I always say to people, just take a couple of nuggets and go to work on them, because it's all about implementing. We have all this information, and the information is great, but you can't have that transformation in your life until you implement it. And, so I say, don't overwhelm yourself. Just get the nuggets from the speakers, see what sits with you, because we're all different, and there's loads of modalities out there, and it's all about, what works for you, what do you like doing. It's all about having a bit of fun as well in this process, right? We have to have more fun in our lives, don't we? Because we're too serious, right? Especially the women, right? Because there's so much on, we're just way too serious, So we have to have a bit of fun. And I mean, this is like, I was at a parent-teacher meeting yesterday. I was telling the teachers, oh yeah, sure, I go out with Leah and our friends. We go down to the forest, and I'd be swinging in the trees. The way you have the swings in the tree? I'd be in there taking photo or taking turns. I was actually taking photographs of me doing that the other day. Take a photograph and be swinging in the tree, and look, so I can show her.
I love it.
I'm mad, I'm only 20. But you have to be a child again, and have the crack, so when I say crack, I'm talking about fun, right? I know in America
we know
crack is fun, right? Whenever I say crack. But yeah, it's so important. But listen, this event, right, folks, so go and register now if you haven't registered already. So the link is in the show notes. So it's an Eventbrite link. Go and register, get your ticket, and come along. It's a Zoom link that you'll get, and you'll get free gifts, and you could be a lucky winner of one of those big prizes as well. And it's all about supporting women, Women's International Day, and as Deborah said, there's going to be a series of summits now coming up to Women's International Day, leading up to the book launch as well, the 262. Say the name of the book, Deborah, will you? Because it's a big long title.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because you're talking about mothers too. So we announced the book on International Women's Day. We do 8 more summits because 8's the magic number, which literally takes us to the day before Mother's Day. And the book is 262 women, entrepreneurs, creatives, and media, rock legacy and tell all. Absolutely.
Oh my God. It's an incredible, incredible project that was divinely told to Deborah to do.
Yeah, I don't know if I was in the wrong place on the right day or the wrong day, but we'll find out at the end of this party.
Yeah. I'm going to get another one to do after this.
In Ireland.
Yeah. I wonder, will you get a break after this, Deborah? Hopefully.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm planning it. It's in my schedule.
Yeah. No, it's you're coming to Ireland fairly soon as well. So please God, we're going to meet and do something.
I know.
Hopefully. But it's just been a wild journey, and I mean, I've got to meet so many great people, and you know, as I say, entrepreneurship is a lonely place, but when you come to these events, the people that you meet, like, you know, and the amount of women that I've met and had conversations with over the last few months, Deborah, and I got to co-host last month as well on the summit, which is incredible. Oh my God, it was incredible. It was like full on, and I was just filled up, and it does it. You fill your cup up. We talk about filling our cup up and having it overflowing, and that's what we want, because that's the place we need to be when we're giving to other people, right? So anyway, listen, we're coming near the end, right? We could talk all day about this. As you can see, I'm really excited about this whole project, and I really want people to know about this, about these summits and International Women's Day and how it's supporting it and all the rest. But I just want to ask each one of you, you know, when it comes to this empowerment of women, it's a really important topic to me, you know, because for me personally, you know, I've felt, you know, over the years that I've been kind of hidden, you know, seen and not heard and all this kind of thing. And my place was at home at the kitchen sink, and, you know, and I believed it up to a certain, I unconsciously believed it, if that makes sense. I wasn't really aware of the work that I could do in the world, and I took for that adversity that happened, and there was various other adversities as well. You'll hear all about it in the book. But it's, you know, it took that to wake me up, and being a woman and what I'm capable of and what I can provide for the world, and just having that one little ripple of impact, because it's all these ripples, right? You know, it's like we're one drop in the ocean, but together, you know, we're an ocean. And look at the power of water, you know, that whole body of water. And that's what we're like, you know, when we come together, and especially with these events and these projects, like, it's just so powerful. Like, you know, I'm flying here now at the moment. I'm gonna have to go out and ground myself in the grass before I go to bed tonight. But listen, I just want to ask each and every one of you is, what does it mean to you, you know, this movement about empowering women on International Women's Day, you know, and really bringing that legacy back? We want it to be a legacy and not forgotten about, you know. It's more than just that social media event. That's when we only hear about it, as Deborah says. So it's more than that. So anyway, Helen, I'll come to you, Helen. What do you think, you know, what's your, how does it sit with you? Like, how do you see Women's International Day and empowering women, and where does that sit with you?
I think it's such an amazing, great day that we come together as a global movement to be able to celebrate the lives of women and the contribution of women with no barriers, with no, you know, caste and culture and everything getting in the way. We're just women, and banding together, bringing our gifts to the world is just amazing. And that's what I think. Celebrating the life of a woman and the movement of women globally is so essential to make our mark and to be able to express who we are and what we do and how together we can change the world.
Oh,
for the better.
Oh my God, I can see it already. I can feel it. Oh my God. Yeah, it's incredible. You mentioned culture as well. I just wanted to shine a light on that as well. You know, when we talk about bringing women together and the solidarity of women and what have you. And, you know, Deborah said before in one of the last podcasts, you know, about women, there are some women who can't speak for themselves. They literally can't speak for themselves. So we're actually helping to support them and free them, to liberate them as well, right? And with this movement, because it will go across the globe. It's energy. It's all an energy, right? You know, we might be saying things, standing up and speaking, but there's energy in how we speak and words, and you know, and how it lands with people, and that impact and how we make them feel, and that goes out into the world. So it's just all these ripples again, right? And it will reach, you know, these other countries and other cultures and what have you. And, you know, miracles happen, right? We've seen it in the past with other leaders, you know, and it can happen. And this is our right, you know, this is our right. Like, we do have a place in the world. So I really wish for that as well. I mean, that would be just incredible. I've no idea what it's like, you know, not to be able to speak on that level. You know, I've never experienced it, you know, but, you know, I know it does exist, and there's a lot of cruelty and blah, blah, blah. And we're speaking for them, you know, we're representing them, really. That's what we're doing. And we're going to break that silence for many other women who can't actually speak. So I just wanted to shine a light on that as well. You mentioned something else as well, and I completely forget what it was. But anyway, that was the one that I wanted to shine the light on. So let's go to Diane. What's it for you, this International Women's Day and women's empowerment?
Everything that Helen said, ditto. And you as well. So, and I was thinking about this, and you know what? I was trying to find this wonderful way to word it all. And all I kept hearing was to have a voice.
Oh, yeah.
Just seriously, for women to just have a voice, to be heard, because a lot of times women have no voice. They're not even allowed to say anything, or else they're excommunicated from their whole life. And to be able to have that voice safely and from the inside, where they feel that voice has value. That's what it means to me. Coming together so women have that, because I think it's where it starts.
And to feel safe to say something, to be self-expressed, to say what they feel, you know, to say what, you know, what's on their mind, or, you know, just to express, to self-express and say it without fear. And to have that safety is essential, because if we don't have safety in our lives, we literally can't sleep at night.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, literally we can't sleep at night. You know, we have all sorts of other problems as well. But this fear thing, there's a lot of fear in the world. We're afraid to say what needs to be said, or what we want to say for the safety of our children or ourselves, or whatever, you know, or a need that we have. And we have that right. You know, like, who are other people to condemn us and judge us? And you know, nobody has the right to judge other people. They really don't, right? We all have our own stuff for various different reasons, and nobody has the right to judge another person. You know, that's all that comparison stuff and putting people down. And why would you want to put people down? Why would you want to? Like, we're all brothers and sisters here, you know. And this is all about raising each other up, because again, it's the ocean thing, you know, the one drop in the ocean, and we all want to live in a world of peace, you know. And nobody's better than the next person. We're all the same. And I think women are great at speaking into that, and you know, we're all stepping up now and showing up. And who are we not to, right? Who are we not to speak up and show up? You know, because there's a lot of work that we've to do in the world, and it's so empowering and so rewarding. Anyway, blah blah blah. I could talk forever. So Lydia, I'm going to move on to you.
Thank you. For me, I have been involved in many women's retreats, women's circles that really bring women together. And to me, that's what International Women's Day is about, is that we're bringing women together to support women. And amazing, miracles happen when women can sit in a circle, connect with other women, and know that they're safe, like you mentioned, know that they're safe, that there's a sisterly connection between all women, and that they're able to just show up and shine and be loved and feel at peace as a woman. And on International Women's Day, we get to see a glimpse of that. So I think it's a great thing for us to be able to do.
You mentioned communication, and I think you know, women are great speaking to each other. Like, you can imagine a group of women in a cafe talking to each other, right? You wouldn't see that with men necessarily, and you'd see it more with the women. Women are great at having conversations and talking to each other, and you know, so we're great little collaborators, you know, and great at networking and what have you, you know. And that's a true value. That's a gift. That's a strength that women have, because we are not afraid to ask for help. And I think that's an area where men kind of would fall down on. And look, men have their own strengths in their areas, right? But I think that's something that women really are gifted with, because in order to be strong and to have that collaboration, we have to be able to communicate and relate to each other and ask for help and, you know, feel it's okay to ask for help. Like, we're not weak if we ask for help. It's actually a strength. So yeah, I just love that you mentioned that word communicate, and I just thought that was really important. Deborah, did I ask you what's
the I talk so often? Yeah, who remembers what, you know? Oh my gosh, this is a hard one to say for me in one sentence, but I feel very strongly that it's a day of history. It's a day of history. It's a day that, one of the reasons why I think this was so important to come together right now is that as we have gained momentum and as we have gained rights, you know, least we forget. I mean, there is women, you know, for me, Gloria Steinem is, you know, an icon for me, and I know her story. There are so many women that have laid our track. Like, there are so many women that have gone before us, even in our own families, that we'll never know. We'll never know the move that they took. We'll never know the courage it took. We'll never know what it was like to walk into that bank teller and say, no, I am going to get this loan and I don't need anybody else's name on it. And that happened to my girlfriend who was very wealthy yesterday. They're like, because you're divorced, we won't give this to you. And she's got, you know, so I mean, it still happens. And I think the shocking aspect that it still happens makes me feel that because we've had some rights, that we have rights, but that really truly is not the case. We still can do so much more. And I don't want that to be forgotten, because there is, I mean, I don't know how old everyone is here, but I see in my daughter and I see in her daughter, there's just things that they don't have to overcome that we fought very hard to do, but we're still not there. And in some places, it's actually gone backwards. So if there was never a need for International Women's Day, if we were always equal, we wouldn't be having this conversation, and we still need to go forward. And it's just very real that there is still things to do and still work to go. So I think it's important to remind the historical aspect of this day, as well as be in solidarity, even if we're not in agreement.
Yeah.
Even if we're not in agreement.
Absolutely. That's very powerful. That's so, so true. And yes, there's still a lot more work to be done, but we've gotten this far and we've made progress, and the momentum has happened, right? So we just need to make it stronger and faster, because there's still a lot of work to do, but it will, and more women are going to come together. And I mean, I think there's a lot of work that has been done so far, and it's keeping that momentum going. We absolutely do not want that momentum to stop, and it won't. Right, because it's harder to start a project like that again, right? But it won't. It's going to keep going and keep getting stronger. I mean, look at where you are now, Deborah, in this whole project. Like, holy God, like the thousands of women that you've impacted so far, and look what's still yet to come, right? And you have your wine club now as well, the 262 wine club, right? It's never ending. Like, I mean, come on. So there's lots of that's happened so far. And lots of great people that have come, like experts, but like, look at the people that are on today, like, you know, and they have, you know, there's just people that have their own media companies and, you know, lots of radio programs and lots of different life coaches, but like really top people that are involved in this movement in their way. And there's loads of different ways that we can get involved in this project. So yeah, so Deborah, I'm absolutely, I can't wait now for the next one on the 8th of February. So again, the link is in the show notes. I'm going to put a QR code. It's going to be here somewhere on the screen on the replay. So that's going to be there as well. So you can just scan your camera over that as well if you want. And I'm just realising I am actually getting very hot in here because my heater is on. It's like snowing outside and it's really and I'm like, my heat is ramped up and I'm like, why am I getting so hot? I just realised my heater is on.
Other than hot,
But yeah, listen, if you enjoyed this podcast, Empowering Family Health, do please subscribe to this podcast, because I do this off my own bat. I don't get paid for it. In fact, I have to pay for the software and blah, blah, blah. So I would love some donations as well. There's a donation link in the links below. You can do a PayPal once off, or you can do a monthly subscription. That would be absolutely fantastic. Or you can come over to my Patreon page, Empowering Family Health. You can come over there as well. Leave some comments, leave some questions, and we can answer them there for you as well on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. You know what to do. Like, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you for the next podcast. But there will be more like this. We're going to have more guests on from the summits coming up going forward as well. So watch out. They're just incredibly empowering. So do stay tuned and tell your friends, tell your family, you know what to do. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to say goodbye to Helen, Deborah, Diane and Lydia, and thank you so much. I mean, these ladies have been here from all over the globe, Sydney and Australia and America, Canada. So yeah, this is a global event, as you can see. So ladies, thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, I know it takes a lot to stand up and show up and speak up, as they say. Thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom and really encouraging women to step up as well. So thank you, good night and God bless.
Thank you, Joanne.
Good night. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you. See all you ladies.
Bye-bye.
I do hope you are enjoying these conversations, and to help me continue putting these videos and audio podcasts together, I do have an ask. I do need support to help me to keep bringing you knowledge and insights. There is a Patreon link, patreon.com/empowering family health, or you can make a donation via PayPal. All the links are in the description and the pinned comment. You can do a one-off or you can do a monthly support. So I'd really appreciate that. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Take care.